colossal footprints are one of the many pieces of fossilized evidence that show that these creatures lived on Earth before us. Our footprints, in comparison, are minuscule. However, our carbon footprint, or the amount of carbon dioxide that we produce by going about our daily lives, is much larger. Our negative impact on the Earth will never be reversible, and we are in grave danger of meeting the same fate as the dinosaurs: extinction. With over 6.5 billion people burning fuel to keep warm, using electricity to light their homes, running industries and moving about, using cars, buses, boats, trains, and airplanes, the world that we live in today is threatened. The burning of fossil fuels, such as coal, oil, and natural gas, releases about 6 gigatons of carbon into the atmosphere each year, and has been increasing. To give you an idea of how much 6 gigatons is, take the collective mass of all the human beings on Earth, plus their machinery and some of their buildings, and then multiply by 12. Carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere have risen 41% over pre-industrial values, and 31% since 1870. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. The greenhouse effect is a process that allows for sunlight to absorb Earth's surface. As sunlight warms the Earth, its energy is radiated back to the atmosphere at a longer wavelength. These longer wavelengths are absorbed by greenhouse gases in our atmosphere before they're lost in space. Absorption of this long-wave radiant energy warms the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, ozone, nitrous oxide, sulfur hexafluoride, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, chlorofluorocarbons, and some others. The increase of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere is causing the globe to gradually get warmer. Scientists warn that the Earth could warm by 7.2 degrees Fahrenheit in just the 21st century alone if we fail to reduce carbon emissions. Record-setting fires will be caused by the heat and drought. Heat waves will cause death, ice caps will melt, glaciers will retreat. Melting glaciers will cause sea levels to rise 25 meters by 2100, and rising ocean temperatures will lead to the death of coral reefs and dependent animals. We also predict more frequent and severe storms and drought that will not only destroy the crops that people depend on, but the land that they live on. The perils of climate change are cause for immediate action. George Bernard Shaw once said, "A reasonable man adapts himself to suit his environment. An unreasonable man persists in attempting to adapt his environment to suit himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." But ladies and gentlemen, reasonable men have come to understand the harm that is done by the unreasonable. And for this reason, we can see the new achievements and discoveries that have been made. Miss Kelly E. McCusker is a graduate student in the Department of Atmospheric Sciences at the University of Washington and works as a research assistant with David Battisti and Cecilia Bitts. She researches global climate modeling, climate change, and geoengineering by stratospheric injections. Geoengineering is the intentional, large-scale manipulation of the global environment for the purpose of reducing undesired climate change caused by human influence. Using the National Center for Atmospheric Sciences, Global Climate Modeling, and the Texas Advanced Computing Center, McCusker and her colleagues found that there would be less overall warming with a combination of increased atmospheric aerosols and increased carbon dioxide, rather than with just increased carbon dioxide. These studies showed that aerosols reflect incoming solar energy, called the aerosol direct effect, but also act as cloud condensation nuclei, which are small particles the size of cloud droplets about which a cloud forms, encouraging rainfall and increasing the lifetime of cloud cover. A 2009 report by the United Kingdom's Royal Society concluded that the injection of sulfate particles into the atmosphere would be the least expensive and most effective way of cooling off our planet. In the United Kingdom, a balloonosphere was created to test this geoengineering scheme. This large, blimp-like balloon has a rubber hose that's 1 kilometer up into the stratosphere. Its injection of sulfate particles into the atmosphere is meant to replicate the process exhibited when a volcano erupts and the surrounding environment begins to cool. Its success showed that only a flexible pipe withstanding lots of pressure at 20 kilometers up into the stratosphere would be necessary for a geoengineering success. Hugh Hunt, a senior lecturer in the Department of Engineering at the University of Cambridge, emphasized the feasibility of this project when saying, "Trying to use an airplane or a rocket would cost 100 to 1,000 times more than a pipe or a balloon. At an altitude of 20 kilometers, an airplane would make 5 to 10 million flights per year, burning roughly 1% of global oil production. It seems unlikely to me that this would be economically viable when a few dozen pipes would do just as good a job." The new achievements and discoveries that have been made in the field of geoengineering have made it possible to prevent serious damage to the Earth in the coming decades. However, it does not have the ability to end global warming on the whole. Therefore, every one of us must take action to reduce our carbon emissions and contribute to the efforts by McCusker and all those who are working to eliminate global warming and its harms to our posterity. Jimmy Kimmel tells us President Bush had a plan. He said that if we need to, we can dramatically decrease the temperature just by switching from Fahrenheit to Celsius. But obviously this is not enough. Each one of us must take steps to reduce our personal consumption of energy. Shopping once a week and making bulk purchases is a step. Finding a greener supplier for your household is a step. Turning off or minimizing our use of electricity-dependent machines is a step. And minimizing our use of central and water heating by just a few degrees is a step. All of these little steps add up to a large reduction of our gigantic carbon footprint.